Greetings. Welcome to DynaVap Live. Gonna have a fun show today. Gonna be talking about thermal acceleration and wide range of different ways to achieve the right amount. So we'll get into that. We'll also have a little bit of a little insight into our post-production department where we get a lot of our devices and other accessories put together and do final quality control. So we'll give you a little clip on that. When we cut to that, it's a perfect time to send a couple of your questions or ideas or thoughts or comments in for us to address today in the show. It gives us a little bit of time to look through and come up with the best way to get some good solid answers for what it is that you're looking for. So, main focus for today though is heat. How to heat your VapCap. How to heat it simple, how to heat it complicated, how to heat it fast, how to heat it slow, and the relatively wide range of different methodology that exist for getting everything up to vaporizing temperature so we can extract the things that we're looking to consume. So, that being said, let's kind of cut to the chase and start talking about different ways that we can heat. And I think we'll start with something like this. You can see we got a little alcohol burner here. We'll jump to that in a bit. But if we look at this torch here, this is a quad flame torch on our website. Got lots of heating capacity. And part of the reason I like to start with this is, believe it or not, the quad flame torch, or the triple torch, so I'm sure I've got one of those here too, like this one. Okay. These are actually very good choices for people that are just beginning with our products or just being introduced to it. Contrary to what you might think that a triple or a quad is too much, it actually makes the initial process of learning how to use our devices a little bit easier, and they're a little bit more tolerant of, we'll just say, learning curve, because you're going to get a more wide distribution of your heat because you have multiple flames. And at the same time, it's going to actually put a little bit more heat into the device faster. So your heat up time is going to be slower, and you're going to actually get a little bit more consistent results than when you're using a single flame. For example, got a single here. Here's a single, right? So the little single flame like this gives you kind of pinpoint heat. Doesn't deliver as many heat units, BTUs, calories, however you'd like to calculate it. So the heat up times tend to be somewhat extended when using a single flame torch, but because you're applying your heat in a much more concentrated area, it allows for a little bit more accurate heating. Don't generally recommend single flame torches for people that aren't familiar with the products. It's a much better choice for someone that's a little bit more familiar and can consistently and routinely heat the device up to operating temperature without difficulties, and you're just looking for a little bit more precise, or you're looking for something that takes a little bit longer if you just kind of enjoy the ritual. So that being said, let's take an M and let's heat it with the quad flame torch. So one of the things that you're going to see here is I'm going to kind of try and hold this at an angle. I guess I'll use this angle here. As we can see, I'm going to hold things at an angle to the torch, okay? And so when I start heating, I'm actually going to be rotating the device like this. You don't have to rotate it fast. You certainly can, and it becomes a technique that you develop, and everyone kind of develops their technique, whether they're clockwise or counterclockwise. Moving our heat source closer to the tip here is going to give you a lower temperature in the extraction chamber when the cap clicks. Heating a little bit further from the end or closer to the digger outer is going to give you a little bit higher temperature when the cap clicks. So that being said, let's give it a little bit of heat and see how it goes. So as you can see, I'm holding it just above the flame, and now we've got our click. It goes that fast. Now with the M being all stainless steel, and stainless steel having a little bit higher density and a little bit more mass than the titanium units, it's going to take a little bit longer to heat up, and it's also going to take a little bit more to heat soak. And what I mean by that is, as I kind of put it on my magnet here to cool off for the click, the energy, especially from a quad flame torch, is going to heat the outside of the tip or the extraction chamber, and it's going to bring the cap and the outer layer of material in the extraction chamber up to temperature very quickly. So even though the cap is clicking, the inside of your extraction chamber is actually going to be a little bit lower. So what you're going to find generally, going from a cold start, especially if your device is on the cold side, is that you're going to get a lot more of the flavorful compounds, and you're not going to get a high temperature extraction the first go around. But now that I've already heated it once, and although it's reset the click, if I touch it, I'm going to feel that it's still pretty hot. Not hot enough to burn you, but it's definitely a lot hotter than room temperature. So now what's going to happen when I go to heat it the second time is it's going to click even a little bit faster. But if I had a thermistor or some sort of temperature probe inside my extraction chamber, I'm going to find that my temperature when the cap clicks is going to be a little bit hotter this time. So there's heating with the quad torch. Heating with the triple torch is going to be generally very similar, but since we only have 3 flames, we're going to notice that the heat up time is going to be a little bit longer. If you're not outside in the wind, you might find that you like the triple torch a little bit better. Also, the triple torch is kind of a good compromise in terms of heating power and fuel economy. The quad torch is kind of like a large displacement engine. It's going to give you lots of power, it's going to help things go fast, but it's also going to burn through fuel a lot faster than a triple torch, a double, or a single. But there's compromises because you can't have everything. So if you're outside in a windy condition, triple is a real good choice because it helps compensate for a lot of the heat loss that you're going to have as the wind is blowing. A single flame torch outside, especially on a cold or windy day, is not exactly the most fun experience because it's going to take a whole lot longer, and it just becomes a lot more challenging to get everything to do what you want it to do because the wind and the cold tends to dissipate a lot of the heat as you're putting it in, and it's just not going to be near as satisfying an experience. So strongly recommend triple and quad torches for people that are just getting familiar with the product. Single flames are much better for indoor experiences and people that have a little bit more time using the product. And if we look at the doubles are also very nice for a little bit faster heat up inside and generally a good compromise in terms of fuel economy and ease of use outside in somewhat windy to not very windy conditions, especially if it's not real cold out. So there's the torches. So there are a wide range of other alternative heating methods, and I think this is one of the cool things about the devices that we make is that you have a whole lot of choice, or what we call energy source independence, that you don't have to use a battery, you don't have to use a specific battery, you don't have to use a specific charger or cord to make our devices work, or you don't have to use a specific torch or lighter that's adjusted to a very precise flame length and have a very good and accurate timing or count in order to make everything work reliably without going over temperature and initiating combustion, which who would want to do that? You know, smoke is kind of yucky. So one of the other ones that we have right here is kind of going here. This is just a little alcohol flame. Just got a little 91% isopropyl alcohol in there. Got a nice little Tai Vong S here. And since I'm burning alcohol, I can put it right in the flame. And I'm not going to get my cap real sooty because alcohol tends to burn relatively clean. And I can vary my position a little bit, front or towards the back. Got a click, we're good to go. We're up to operating temperature. Titanium tip, going to heat up a little bit faster, a little bit better airflow than the stainless tip. And put it on a magnet, we'll draw the heat out so we can reset it and go for the next click. If I take my M and put it in the same flame, we're going to notice that the heat up time is going to be a little bit longer, even though this device is already hot. The click we heard was the other one resetting. There, M just clicked, good to go, we're up to temperature. This is kind of a nice heating method for the end of one of those challenging days. Things are just a little bit high strung. You want to kind of relax. It's almost like meditation. You can have a candle or an alcohol lamp or something like this going. It's extremely quiet. You know, unlike a torch, which, you know, a quad torch like this, you know, there's a loud click, And there's that sound of all the flames burning. It's not as pleasant as the silence of an open flame like an alcohol flame or even a candle. And a candle actually works just fine. Or we got another option here. Most people have seen these things. So here maybe we'll grab, got one of our pink mouthpiece Tai Vong S here. So now I'm going to hold this right here and I'm going to heat it with a Bic. And notice real carefully how I put this in the flame. Okay. Although a lot of people will say the hottest part of the flame is the tip, that's generally correct. We're not looking for the hottest part of the flame here. We're looking for the most heat. And there's a key difference between heat and temperature. And we're looking to heat our tip. We're not looking to get to the hottest temperature in one pinpoint location. So when I light this, I want to bury the cap in the flame. And what we're going to see is that very little yellow flame. And that's really what our objective is here. Is the less yellow we see, the less black and the less soot we're going to get on our cap when things come up to temperature. And now we got our click, we're up to temperature, used a Bic Lighter, and going to give this a few seconds to cool down. And I'm going to show something that's, I think, real important, is that even with a Bic Lighter, give me a click, there we go, I can take my cap off, and notice I can rub my finger on here, and I don't have a bunch of soot on the cap or on my finger. Okay, this is the one I just heated with that Bic Lighter. Can't say it's perfectly clean, but it's not black. If we hold it at the tip of the flame, and since we're all about learning here, I'm going to make this cap black so everyone can see. Holding it at the tip of the flame, you can already see the soot, you can see the cap turning black. It hasn't even clicked yet. If you just kind of zoom in here, Ben, you can see that this cap is really gross, really black. And if I touch it with my finger, I've got soot on it just from wiping on one spot. Okay, same lighter, same cap, one's clean, one's dirty. If you're gonna use a soft flame like a lighter like this, bury it in the flame, make as little yellow flame appear as possible. It's actually going to heat your cap significantly faster when you bury it in the flame, because we end up with the flame wrapping around roughly 270 degrees at the cap, uniformly heating the majority of the cap and then conducting that heat in through the cap and heating the tip in the extraction chamber much more uniformly than if we're just trying to use the very tip of the flame and having the wind blow it all over the place. That's no fun. So there we go. Soft flame lighter, alcohol burner, a wide range of different torches. We can use a single flame just to kind of illustrate how much longer it takes to heat up. You can see again, I'm kind of holding at an angle, aiming at the cap here. When you're using a single flame, we're aiming at the base of the cap, and now I'm going to move more towards the tip. It's a whole different experience. Again, much more recommended as an alternative if you're new to our product. I highly recommend starting with a triple or a quad, not less than a double if you're new to the product. After you've got that, got it down, you want to try a triple or try a single, go for it. Okay, in conjunction, we still have more alternatives for heat sources. Let's see. Can we heat with a match? Come on. I know this is really exciting, but I think it's possible. Hopefully I won't, hopefully I won't burn my fingers. And we got it. So in a pinch, we can even use matches. It might take you 1 or 2 or 3, or ideally take that match and light a candle. We can get it done that way as well. Or if we really get desperate, we can even use an obnoxious heat source like this. So turn it on, turn your flame down as far as you can, because we don't really need all that heat. And what you can see by the angle is I'm going to hold this in the very outer part of the flame, because there's plenty of heat coming out of there. and got our click. So basically, that's simple. The VapCap is a very energy source independent device capable of being heated via a wide range of different heating methodology. And as I'm sure everyone is anxious to know, because believe it or not, I am too, we have been actively working on our induction heaters. I've got one right here we can take out and heat up. So our device works in there too. Just like that. It's going to dip it in, can heat it up. The induction heater is still a work in progress. Making good progress. We're on revision 7 or 8 on our electronics. Really want to make sure that we get this just right, because we don't want to be sending out a whole bunch of product that people don't like, that doesn't work, that doesn't meet expectations. So as much as we'd like to be releasing these things right now, they're still a little ways off. But they're pretty cool inside. You can check it out. You know, a lot of cool stuff going on in there. More on that soon. So, speaking of that, from last time, one of our new subscribers, thanks for subscribing, thanks for sharing, thanks for participating and being part of our community here. We've already been in contact. You're going to get one of our beta units, so if you don't like it, let us know. We'll try and do the best we can to work through the difficulties. That's coming along. Which gets us to post-production. You want to cut to our little clip?
I am Sheldon Gammond and I work at DynaVap in the post-production department. And we kind of just are the final step in the finishing of products. We're the last line of QC. Anything that goes out comes through us. We make sure everything's workable, functional, and looks great and is ready for use. Well, my favorite part about working in this department is just the being able to see what we're producing and what it looks like when we finish it, and then also the feedback that we get from our customers is pretty cool. And that's another thing that I really love about working here is just our relationship with our customers and making them happy. So over here, this is about my favorite part of what we do over here is just the variants of our stashes. They're all, you know, they're all the same stash, right? But each one is so different just because wood is different. So each one's different and unique and it's its own. So it's just cool to be able to see that and work with that.
You're back. All right. So just a little insight into post-production. Got to see Sheldon there. Sheldon did some videos for us, showed off some of our lighters the other day, and got kind of a funny question. Someone asked if Sheldon is a clone. I don't think so, but maybe. So, moving on, someone else asked if we're going to be offering any anodized mouthpieces for the omni vaps. Well, what color would you like? I think Pranav, you can handle making us a few different colored omni mouthpieces. So leave us some comments, tell us which color you're looking for, and maybe we'll do a few of those up here in the near future. Maybe they'll even land in the builder. Let's go. Thank you. Here's a blue one. If we got any other color. Oh, gold one. That's kind of fun. Maybe we'll even do some more difficult colors, but we'll kind of leave that up to Pranav. Keep an eye on the builder. If we do it, we'll put it out on Instagram and or Facebook, post something in the Dynaverse. So keep in touch on social media. Maybe we'll do a quick YouTube video and post it out there, just so you can see what it's all about. All right. So another question here, it seems like a really good one. Do we provide samples to journalists? Well, if you're a person that's looking to do a review and you're involved in the industry, or even if you're not, get in touch with us. we like to support those people that do reviews of our product and are just generally interested in learning more and sharing. So we've got a wide range of different options for supporting you for reviewing our product and evaluating it, and just generally providing other media and other resources for people that are doing research on our products to make sure that they're getting a good broad perspective, not just from us, but from just about anyone that cares to use the product, to give it an evaluation and a good walkthrough, make sure that people like what they're looking at and they kind of know what they're getting into. Also saw a question about the candle that's sitting in front of me here. It's actually not a candle. This is an alcohol burner that I put together. Blow it out quick. Notice there's no smoke, okay? And this is a real key feature of an alcohol burner, is that there's not smoke, and if you notice when I put the cap in the flame, it didn't turn black. Inside is, let's open her up quick. If it wants to cooperate. There we go. So what you're going to see inside is a little bit of our very useful multi-purpose degummed hemp fiber, about that much of it. Okay, I'd say 6-8 inches. And if you see in the bottom, there's just a little bit of alcohol in there. And I just punched a little hole in the lid, pulled a little bit through, gave a little shake to make sure the alcohol was distributed, and get a nice little clean burning flame. So, little alcohol burner. Let's see. I saw a little question for higher capacity tips. Can't say that they're not in the works, but considering that it would force us to re-engineer our caps and everything else, not likely to be happening soon, but we may have some other interesting options for you regarding the tips, so stay tuned on that. Let's see. Can we please get a limited run of the original glass VapCaps? That's a great idea. When should we do it? So whoever sent that question in, give me a date and we'll see if we can make it happen. Sounds like a fun thing to do, just kind of getting back. So, other than that, I think it's been a pretty good show for today. Hopefully we got some of your questions answered, showed you a little bit more of the versatility of the device that we make, the wide range of different heating ideas, methodologies, and sources that you can use. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Other than that, hopefully tune in next time. Keep in touch, send us your questions and comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Check out our other videos here and here, and please subscribe. We appreciate your support and look forward to next time.